Welcome to another episode of Reddit Wolf. Without further delay, let's jump into today's story. D-Day was 4 days ago, confused and lost. Posted by Throwaway Anon 2177. We were happy for many years. High school sweethearts who moved on to and got through college together, moved states and got an apartment. However, after we got engaged, COVID hit and her mental state took a turn for the worst. Wound up finding out that she'd been sexting another man. Just messages on Discord as far as I could tell. No pictures or anything. But I gave her another chance and things got so much better over the next year and a half. We ended up committing to our relationship and got married. Both our parents shelled out a lot of money for the wedding, especially for her own parents who have a very poor financial situation. Things were great. It was the best day of my life as far as I knew. However, the vows we read together in that hotel room turned out to be nothing but lies. As 6 months later, we're working through a dissolution. After having suspicions for some time, I got into a public Discord server she frequented and noticed how she talked with another guy in there. In the morning, I confronted her, and it turns out she started private messaging him 3 months after the marriage, pretending to be excited for our future, choosing kids' names with me, all while this was going on. She even bragged about our relationship and how much I do for her in that server throughout all of this. Turned out to be pictures this time as well, and I decided I'd leave for our home state to think about things, saying we'd call it a break. So she left, so I could pack, and went right to his house, not knowing who he really was and totally unwilling to even hold out we could work through things. Found out through a picture he posted in the server of them in bed together, bragging about his conquest. Her decision was made, so I told her it was over. My sister drove 3 hours to help me get out of there with my things, and I've been at my parents' ever since, trying to survive while working on her with a dissolution. In hindsight, she wasn't the person I fell in love with for a long time, and I just wasn't being honest with myself. None of her explanations made sense, and she ultimately admitted she was just broken and I needed to get away because she'll just hurt me again. I honestly don't think she knows why she did it. She has a history of mental illness and needs help, and I still love and worry about her, but it can't be my problem anymore. I know she thinks she loves me, but as I told her, love is shown in your actions, and hers were those of a user. She even said her plan was to hold out hope that our petty problems would work themselves out, and she could go back to being loyal. The very least, there's no kids involved, and she recognizes her fault and is being amicable when it comes to the dissolution so far, giving me more than I'm frankly entitled to. Right now, I'm just trying to power through the legal shit and get her out of my life so I can move on. I've got a lot of support on my side, unlike her, but communicating every day isn't easy, and I haven't even begun to think of a life after her. I mean, we made so many plans, and up until a couple of days ago, that was going to be the rest of my life. Just feel totally used and embarrassed for everyone else who was taken advantage of by her. But it's been helping me mourn the person she used to be rather than try to understand the motivations of an ill cheater. She's been my only partner though, and I don't know the first thing about dating, so the future terrifies me. But I'm really trying to keep myself together and maybe use this as an opportunity to reinvent myself. I just don't know towards what, as that future we had was my only motivation for so long. Anyway, I'd appreciate some advice here, especially if you've been through this. And now for some comments. Kurzik says, found out through a picture he posted in the server of them in bed together, bragging about his conquest. He sounds like a real gem. Does she realize she's being used as a sex toy? Does she realize that he's probably post nudes with her and that whatever goes onto the internet is forever, right? If you think she needs help, you should tell her parents and family about everything. Let them deal with her. And Slap Nutsa Bingo says she was never that person. She was a master manipulator and an illusionist. She just couldn't keep up the charade. You will get through to the other end and find your history maker. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but someday. And now it's time for story number 2, posted by Swizzlestick. My wife cheated on me. We're going through the divorce process and live in the same house. She is gaslighting the hell out of me. I feel like staying under the same roof is horrible for my mental health. Need some advice. As the title suggests, my wife cheated on me multiple times throughout the course of the last few months. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much immediately when the affair started. However, she was so convincing when I talked to her about it. I was never vindictive or overly confrontational when I brought it up, but man, when I did, she flipped the script on me like I was some kind of bad guy for trying to discuss our relationship and questioning her integrity. Anyway, I found out she was constantly on the phone, and one night, not proud of this, I did what I had to do and read her text messages. I confronted her the next morning about the affair, and she lied. I confronted her again, this time telling her I have seen her text messages, and she lied again. Finally, I had to literally recite some of the messages I read, and she just fell silent. Her response to all of this was not to apologize, but instead she told me if I didn't push her to that point, she never would have done it. I know I'm an anonymous stranger on the internet, but guys, when I tell you I have never in my life done anything to my wife that would make her cheat, I'm not kidding. I've never been physical with her, never yelled at her, never really done anything that would make me question my own integrity. Truly, I'm not perfect, but honestly, I have been a good husband to her. Well, now living with her has been hell. She will tell anyone and everyone we know that I have emotionally abused her. Even after finding out, I have never been mean, yelled, anything. I've told her I'm heartbroken and we're definitely getting a divorce, but honestly, that's when it starts and ends. Every little word that comes out of my mouth, she twists like I'm some kind of bad guy. She claims I'm gaslighting her, which is crazy because she is gaslighting me. She's always mean and confrontational when I see her, and honestly, I don't really say anything because I just know it'll be taken the wrong way or twisted in a way I didn't intend, and she'll start an argument. What do I do? Why is she being so horrible? Shouldn't I be the one mad at her? Honestly, I just want to coast out of this divorce process and move on. But she is so overly combative. It's making a cordial divorce very, very difficult. At first, her gaslighting was getting to me. I was questioning myself hard, but I've had this some time to step back and think rationally. And what she's claiming is simply not true. Someone help a brother out because I am struggling. Edit number 1. Holy shit, the amount of advice and support I've gotten from you all is mind-blowing. To anyone that contributed, I truly mean this. Thank you. Edit 2. It's been a day since I posted. I implemented the Grey Rock method immediately following this post, and it is working. It's driving her crazy, and in return keeping me grounded. This post has saved my sanity. Thank you so much. Now, before I move on to the update, I'm going to read some comments. Cursor78 says, learn the value of Grey Rock and the 180 methods. Return her level of energy, but have other coping mechanisms when she's not around. 5 ways to release emotional energy not around her. Don't waste any more energy in a conversation with her. Start planning how and when you can move. Remove all mutual friends that don't support you from your life. focus fresh and with healthier people. And Utterly Bored says she wants to blame you for her behavior. She is continually provoking you so that she can avoid accountability. It's cruel, but a classic move for cheaters. Grey rocking will help you avoid the temptation. Imaginary Routine 38 says, no one makes another cheat. You do not have to defend yourself. I promise we all believe you. My cheater moved out right away to live with the new girlfriend, but otherwise the start of my story is somewhat similar, and the gaslighting. Oh, the gaslighting. Still sorting out reality in my head. It's terrible. I'll get there someday, but right now it's awful. I'm sorry. Agree with the others who have posted here regarding minimal contact and grey rocking. It's hard, but imagine a wall surrounding you and protecting your sanity. You will make it. I'm sorry. And now let's move on to the update. It's been 3 weeks since my original post, so I figured I'd post an update. Long story short, my wife had an affair and was really making me feel horrible about myself. Turned her friends against me like I'm a monster, and genuinely just being a really characteristically awful human being. If you're going through the divorce process or your spouse cheated on you and is making you feel bad about it, I feel like I have some solid stuff here to share. My soon to be ex wife and I are on our way through the divorce process now. I didn't kick the can too much on the divorce, didn't second guess myself, kept the course, and because of that, I'm almost free. Soon to be ex has done and said some extremely crazy, illogical, and hurtful things along the way. At this point, every word she says further seals this divorce and solidifies my decision. I've been told I made her cheat. I've been told I abused her. Definitely not. I've been gaslighted on multiple occasions during our settlement that the morally right thing to do is X, Y, and Z. And the list goes on. Sometimes I wonder if she's even living on planet Earth with how she's thinking about things. This divorce has opened my eyes quite a bit, and I'm realizing I was a little bit of a sucker. I love with my whole heart, and because of that, I've allowed her to manipulate my emotions along the way. Question myself. I fell into an empathy trap. And what I mean by that is I empathized with her even when the things she thought or said made no sense. I unintentionally fueled completely irrational thoughts. The script has been flipped entirely. She doesn't even know how to interact with me when she can no longer manipulate me, thanks to all of you wonderful people who recommended Grey Rock. And because of that, the only thing she can do is get mad, explode. Essentially, go into an unprovoked rage. If I snapped one day and called her every name in the book, it would be the equivalent of resuscitating her. It would give her relief, not make her feel worse, which is twisted in every way, but I know it's the truth. Anyway, I haven't given her an inch, not a single inch. I'm not mean, I'm not aggressive, I'm not vindictive, I'm none of those things, and never have been. I'm confident, I'm grounded, and I'm thinking rationally or logically, not letting my heart take the wheel, not slipping up or losing my cool, and certainly not letting her manipulate me any further. She's still in her cheater's fog. She still feels justified for her decisions. I have not, and doubt I ever will, receive an apology. Not from her, anyway. Her family has apologized profusely, which is appreciated, but doesn't necessarily cover up the hurt I experienced. I will admit, in this moment, the hurt I see in her family far outweighs the hurt I feel for losing my wife. They're good people. It's unfortunate the apple fell far from the tree. In a few short weeks, I'm a free man. Not sure when the fog will be lifted for her, but I do have sympathy for her to a capacity. There will be a day she wakes up, a day where reality, real life, catches up with her. Don't know if that's a few months, a year, half a lifetime. And it'll come. There will be a day she is sitting her in her apartment or home, alone, and the burning feeling she had will begin to die out. I empathize with her because the pain she will feel in that moment will be exactly what I felt. Absolutely crushed, physically sick to my stomach, an emotional mess. Truly, I was a phenomenal husband. It is now and always has been my personality to be a chipper, smiling face for her, jovial and a rock solid shoulder to lean on, reliable and loyal and loving with all understandings. And she will grow to recognize that she hit the lotto on her first go round and nuked the marriage to pieces with what one day she'll recall as the biggest mistake of her life. A fling, an exciting affair, cannot and never will be able to replace a lifetime partner who understands and willingly accepts genuine commitment. She will one day learn and understand that. I've put in my time. I've experienced the hurt. I've reflected on myself, our marriage, and what has led us to this point. I sought professional counsel to make sure I was giving myself the opportunity to decompress my thoughts and emotions. I've read literature. I've critically analyzed myself and my behavior to try and pinpoint exactly what it was that led her to do what she did. Fact is, nothing I did led to her to cheat. Nothing. I wasn't perfect. Nobody is, but I loved her. I would work and make sacrifices for her. And the fact of the matter is, that wasn't a two-way street. The lies, the manipulation, all of the wild things she says, she truly may believe, but they're not coming from a place of rationality. She gave up on a marriage that I was putting 100% effort into and had an affair on someone that would have gone to the moon and back for her. It destroyed my confidence, not gonna lie. But in these moments of absolute emotional agony and adversity, it will make me a better man on the other side. Guys, seriously, if you're unhappy in a marriage, communicate. Do not cheat. And if you do cheat, own it. Look internally. Don't further hurt those people around you and blame them. Hundreds of hours of remunerating, thinking about myself, blaming myself. What could have been prevented by a simple phrase from my soon to be ex? Hey, I'm sorry I fucked up. I don't know if anyone here needs to hear this, but if you're currently playing the blame game down on your dauber, feeling like you took a hit to your confidence, stop. Reflecting on yourself is powerful, and I think critique is good to a capacity, but you don't drive someone to an affair. You can't accept blame for another individual's character flaw, period. If things are messed up, you've tried counseling, gone down every avenue to correct things. A divorce is the appropriate next stop, not a secret affair. I'll leave you with this. My soon to be ex looked me directly into my eyes and said with 100% confidence, I'm not the type of person to have an affair. That's not who I am. You led me to that point. If you've ever heard that phrase before or hear it in the future, package it up in a pretty box, make sure it's nice and sealed, and shove it right where the sun don't shine. It doesn't even make sense. I'd love to rob a bank and tell the officers, I'm not the type of person to rob a bank, and the government made me do it. But I'm a rational adult, and that's not how it works. Thanks for reading and allowing me to share my thoughts, and thank you for the advice on my original post. This sub has been monumental in my sanity for the past 3 weeks. And now, let's read some comments. Ocean Gal 2018 says, it was good to read your story. I'm sorry you've gone through this. I was really able to relate. My ex cheated many times, and apparently I drove him to it. It's laughable. I know I can laugh now. More than your main post, this comment resonates. I was ashamed to leave, picturing comments about another failed relationship. I wanted traditional, just one long-term monogamous relationship. NYC Tanola says, great post, and I'm really happy for you. The pity you express for her over the future, however, is only a comforting fantasy. It's probably better to accept that she may never recognize what she did was wrong or feel any of that guilt. She'll find more and more enablers to keep those feelings at bay, just how it is. But it doesn't matter. You get to move on and be away from her and find someone better. And that's enough. And finally, Razor Chum says the one thing a cheater that blames you, the marriage, for their cheating can never rebuke is that you were both in the same marriage. You both experienced the same partnership, highs and lows. She was the only one weak enough to cheat. And so ends today's episode. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.